The disciples of the Messiah ministry. This is the daily exhortation, the law of the Messiah. In 1 Corinthians 9:21 it says, "And to those who have not the law, I became as one without law, while I am not unto God without law, but in the law of the Messiah, that them also who have not law I may gain." The first thing you have to realize is that the law of the Messiah is the law of God. Paul says, I'm not without law unto God. I'm not unto God without law, but in the law of Messiah, that them also who have not law I may gain. Paul is equating the law of God with the law of Messiah. He says he's not without the law of God, but subject to the law of Messiah. They're one and the same. Well, no one should really doubt that the law of Moses is the same as the law of God. Why then is it called the law of Moses? Because it came through Moses. The law of the Messiah is called such because he is the mediator of the new covenant. Same law, different medium, from letter to spirit. We fulfill. In Galatians 6, it says, "And bear the burdens of one another, and so fulfill the law of Messiah." We fulfill it. We're not in the business of trying to do our best, keeping, observing, pursuing, all those things. I'm in this thing to fulfill the righteousness of the law through my Messiah. Fullness. Aren't you tired of empty vanity in the flesh? Don't you want to know what it's like to fulfill something and live a fulfilled life? That's what I want. That's what the Messiah brings to us in the law of the Messiah. Deuteronomy 17:18 says, "And it shall be when he sitteth upon the throne of his kingdom, that he shall write him a copy of this law in a book, that which is before the priest, the Levites." This is the law of the king. This is commandments given to the king of Israel. We all believe, or we should believe, that Jesus, Yeshua the Messiah, is the King of the Jews, King of kings and Lord of lords. Well, if he is the King of the Jews, he must write for himself a copy of the law of God. This is for every king. So how did David write a copy of the law, or Solomon? We're going to discuss this for just a minute. We see Moses writing a copy of the law in Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy is called the Mishneh Torah. It's called the second Torah. Moses is writing a copy of the Torah. Well, we see it also in David. Jesus calls the book of Psalms the law. In John 10:34, it says, Jesus said unto them, "Is it not written in your law, I said unto them, ye are Elohim," or ye are gods. And he says this in Psalms 82:6. He said, "I have said ye are gods, all of you are children of the Most High." But look, Jesus calls it law. He calls the Psalms law. Again, in John 15:25, he says that the word may be fulfilled, which is written in their law. They hated me undeservedly, or hated me without cause. In Psalm 69:4, it said they hated me without cause. Again, Jesus is calling this law. Look at Solomon. In Proverbs 3:3, it says, "My son, forget not my law, forget not my Torah, but let thine heart keep my commandments." So Solomon is calling his Proverbs law. What are we talking about here? We're talking about these kings, David and Solomon, fulfilling the commandment to write a book of the Torah for themselves. We're talking about them taking Torah, or the law, to another level. David is taking the priestly service of the law and turning it into its true hidden form, which is praise and worship and exaltation of God. So in the law it says to serve God, avodah, which we understand today as worship, but we wouldn't have that understanding unless the Mashiach of that time, the Messiah of that time, David, the anointed of that time, had not brought it down to us on this level. David brought the law into a spiritual level of praise and worship. Solomon did the same thing. He transfigured the law into great parabolic prose of wisdom and depth. Spiritual wisdom. That's what Solomon is doing in the Proverbs. So, in Isaiah 42:4 it says, He shall not fail nor be discouraged till He have set judgment in the earth, and the isles shall wait for His law. They shall wait for His Torah. So the Gentiles are waiting for His Torah. The Gentiles are waiting for the Torah of the Messiah. And that's what we need. The Gentiles are not largely impressed by what's going on in the Hebrew roots and Messianic movement. In these movements, they're still in the majority-wise, they are still in the letter of the law, and they are still promoting a letter of the law and not the spirit of the law. But the Messiah's law, which is the same Torah as in the Old Testament, it's the same Torah as the 5 books of Moses, but nevertheless it is transfigured from letter to spirit and written upon our hearts. Let's look at that. In Jeremiah 31:31 it says, Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, saith the Lord. But this shall be the covenant I make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my law in their inward parts, write it in their hearts. I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Again, in Ezekiel chapter 36, he says, A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you, and I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you an heart of flesh. And I will put my spirit within you, and cause you to walk in my statutes, and ye shall keep my judgments and do them. Again, it is God causing us, God leading us, guiding us to walk in His statutes and in His judgments. Through the Spirit, He gives us a new heart, a new nature, and He puts His Spirit within us so that we might walk according to His ways. It is no longer according to the letter, but the letter is fulfilled. The righteousness of the letter is fulfilled in us through the Spirit of God. So the Jews